everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Good Kraken Show. This is episode 172, and I am your host, Devin Stanford, aka Brevin the Dude. I'm joined here today by the one that I always call the Screaming Polynesian, the Shark Daddy. Ernell Pearson, what's up?
That's my shark sound. You know, it's like, what's happening, baby? What's going on? I'm catching a little bit of a cough. I'm catching a bit of cough today, and I'm hoping that if I just chug like 1 cup of Airborne and another cup of like just straight like NyQuil, and then 1 last cup of just ass sweat, I'll just be able to get all of it out of the way, and I won't ever get sick at all. You know what I'm saying? That's
You know what?
Ass sweat,
You know what I heard helps with preventing a cold?
ass sweat.
All of that plus playing Guardians of the Galaxy.
You know, I would
here
love to
we
do that,
fucking
Devin.
go.
I would love to do that, you know, but here's the deal, my friend. Here's the deal, okay? Hit Guardians of the Galaxy game from one Square Enix, you know what I'm saying? I don't even remember who made that game. But
Well, it was actually made by Eidos Montreal.
oh yeah,
and published.
whoever, yeah,
Oh, wow.
that company. They came out. Right, they came out the gate swinging. Okay, they got themselves a best narrative award, you know, so on and so forth. Right, there's a lot of great things to say about
A lot of
Guardians the
nominations too.
Galaxy. A lot of nominations for that game, and I don't care about any of them.
Dude.
Listen, I had to prioritize the game I'm talking about later on. Okay, I had to make sure that got taken care of.
No. It's been a year.
Yeah, there are other games that came
There
out
was
this year.
time. There was time to play for you to play Guardians this year.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
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 You know what I'm
There was,
saying?
my
It was,
boy.
y'all tripping. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
there was my boyo.
That other beautiful voice you're hearing is none other than my great little cherry blossom, Garrick Bartholomew Eaton, aka the Vermilion Beard.
He's only saying you're beautiful because you play Guardians of the Galaxy. That's the only reason he's saying that.
No, look at his hair tonight. He's got his
No,
emo
beautiful.
hair on.
He looks good. His hair looks
Yeah, I
good.
do
You got
have-
the
this
hair
is-
going
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
The thing is like Devin says this is my emo hair, but this is actually just what it looks like if I don't do if I don't comb it at all. This is
Yeah,
its natural
man.
state.
Garrick played.
Yeah, you got
Garrick
emo
played
Maybe
hair.
Guardians.
emo is your natural state, Gear.
Emo,
Yeah,
emo
it
is my
checks out.
natural state.
Yeah, it checks
There
out.
it is.
Yeah. Mhm.
There it is.
I can relate.
Garrick
Can
played Guardians of the Galaxy in Ohio. That's what happened.
Yeah, I did.
Yep.
relate.
I
Yeah.
flew there just to play it.
Yeah.
Cried a
Ernell,
couple of
it feels
times and
like
left.
that.
Yep.
It feels like that at the end of the game. It does.
Oh, does it? I
Yeah.
wouldn't know.
Little bit.
I have no idea.
Yeah, because you didn't fucking play it, nerd.
Sure did, man.
Yeah,
Sure did.
yeah. Fucking
though,
dork.
Maybe when I do play, I will like it. Unlike one Devin,
You
the
will.
5-star man Sanford, who
my
doesn't
God.
like the Division 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Dude,
crazy.
I'm not even acknowledging that because it's not the truth. At least I play good games. That smiling mug, right. Which way? This way? Yeah, he's
Yeah,
right
there you
there.
go. There
That
you go.
guy.
There you go,
This
that
guy. Drum roll.
Oh, we got him, baby.
Welcome.
Who's that?
Yo,
I am here.
How you doing? How you doing?
Bro, I got high as fuck yesterday.
yeah.
Dude. And okay, I was on 3 hours of sleep, and I was the only class I had was my cinematography class, and we were watching the premieres of all the student films I got to work on for the past month. And someone brought like fireball shots. I took like one of them because I'm driving. I didn't want
I'm
to take too
sorry.
many.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, gross.
I downed it.
Yeah,
It was clean.
fireball's
It was I downed it for a good bit. It wasn't the worst thing I've had, but
No, that's fair.
and then
It's not the worst.
I went
It's
to
fair.
that. I went to a place slightly off campus, that sells cannabis oriented goods, and they have this thing called a turf slurp, just weed infused slushies.
I'd be turf.
And I don't know and my friend convinced me to get my friend convinced me to get a large.
Yo,
because I
that
wasn't
sounds
gonna
tight as fuck.
Wow, that's a
So
good
I mixed
friend.
a blue
Yo,
raspberry
hearing the
and tiger
slurp
blood.
and tight as fuck.
Yeah, like-
thank you, Evan. Thank you.
So I mixed the blue raspberry flavor and the tiger blood flavor, and I drank that all the way until I got home, and that shit hit like a fucking truck. I
Oh yeah.
I was playing League of Legends and I couldn't feel my arms. I couldn't
He's
feel
just
my
sitting
hands.
there
I
at his
couldn't feel my
computer,
face.
the mouse just stops. He's like
And I
he
was
just
so
stops in the middle of the lane, just manual breathing.
dude. And yes, I was trying so hard to like stay up because I was on 3 hours of sleep, like I said in the beginning. And so like I finished the game. It was 10 o'clock. I couldn't believe it was 10 o'clock. I went to bed and I slept until 12 p.m. today.
Hell yeah, brother.
No, notice how the game was not Guardians of the Galaxy, because
Yeah.
because he doesn't need to play it. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't need to play that game.
I think after you finish the Mass Effect trilogy, I feel like that would be a good game for you to go to next. Story-wise.
After, huh? Oh, so he gets some leniency
Yeah,
to
after
not
Mass
play
Effect
it.
more
Yeah.
important.
Well, yeah.
Mass
well,
Effect
see,
better game.
Yeah.
See,
yeah, exactly.
here's the thing. Here's the thing, Ernell. I know you're not going to commit to finishing all 3 Mass Effect games. I know DJ will.
I mean, I will eventually. It's because
I'm
the first
hooked
one's a
onto the
good
games
game.
now.
Like I
Yeah,
got
he's
sucked into
hooked
the
on it.
first one,
See.
but- Yeah, I mean, like I got sucked in the first one. That's a big game. It's a big ass game, man. Like,
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
it's a good game.
fucking
It's a good
A.
game.
And the second one's even bigger apparently, and I gotta.
It is.
Bigger, badder, and uncut. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, like little
Second-
traces of Witcher syndrome, and you know,
Yeah,
I'm trying to fight it. I'm trying to fight it.
Man,
'cause I
don't
wanna
fight
do
it.
It's a good
That
game.
happens,
Just mainline the story. Honestly, like it's pretty
I don't
easy
want
to
to mainline.
do.
I want to create a profile, man. My shepherd's one of the best fucking shepherds in the universe. Okay,
Just gotta
I'm
knock
there.
back.
Shepherd,
I
and this
get
is my
everything
favorite
done.
stop on the Citadel.
knock back one big old tall turf slurp, and you'll
We're
be.
not talking about turf
I didn't
slurs
even-
because today we are talking about.
Yeah, no, there was.
Oh,
no...
I opened up the wrong ones. I
Yeah,
opened
no,
up
it's
the
okay.
wrong ones. We're talking about broken perfections. That's fucking teamwork and much, much more. Wait,
Nope.
no, wait. Are
Nope,
are
wrong
these
one.
mix up?
Wrong one.
Yeah, these are mixed up.
No, they're not. Yeah,
Oh, we don't have a
hands-on
title.
only.
We don't
Yeah.
have a title. It just
Yeah, I
it's
know.
just
You
here.
just have to say
We're
it. You
here
just have to say
because
it.
this
You
is
know?
the Good Kraken podcast,
Thank
and
you.
we always mess things up. And you know what? This is your choice for all
It was
the nerdy
purposeful.
video-
It was purposeful.
news, reviews, and discussions that you want to hear live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 12 p.m. Ernell kind of sucks, but if you're riding this wave, you can head on over to our Discord channel where you can submit questions and topics to the show, get exclusive post-show content, and soon have early access to episodes before they go live on podcast and video services across the digital sea.
Learn how to segue.
Yarg.
Herb Slurp. You know, your pockets for the latest and greatest in entertainment. That is totally fine. You can watch us record the show live right here at twitch.tv/Good Kraken Show. If you segued here so far and you have Amazon Prime, you also have Twitch Prime. We would love for you to give that to us to help us keep pushing out content for all of you listening or watching at home. But you can also support us by going to our YouTube channel, clicking that beautiful bell and big red button, or by subscribing to our podcast channel by searching Good Kraken exclamation point and leaving a review there. Review. You know, I'm not gonna lie, you threw me off. You didn't put I've become such a robot with the titles and
You gotta
stuff.
get your
you know?
you gotta get your chops down. You know what I'm saying? The chops down. Like you gotta
No,
be
you
able
know-
to
you know what it
be
is?
ready for anything. Okay,
I
like
told the DJ today
Review.
with
Like-
everything. You know,
listen, the
You know.
perfect segue. You could be like, speaking of turf and slurp. This is like you could have done anything.
I mean,
off
that's
that
what I
one.
was doing, and then I got thrown off. That I was like, "Oh, there's no title. It's crazy."
I know. Just the way that we
Anyways,
like
guys,
it.
we got some captain's orders.
What's up, Devin? What's
Join
up,
us
Devin?
Thursday, December 8th.
December
Turf
8th.
Slurp at 4:30 p.m. for our live reactions to the 2022
World
Turf Slurp Game
premiere.
Awards.
World premiere.
World
Jeff
premiere.
Keels.
Did you say Turf and
Nice.
Slurp Awards?
It's a turf and slurp. It's a turf slurp. Okay, there's no
Turf slurp,
and.
turf
You don't turf
slurp.
and then slurp.
My
It's a
version
turf
has
slurp
shrimp in
put
it.
together.
Okay?
I mean, you could do both,
You're
theoretically
You're
speaking.
slurping turf. You're
Slurp
slurping
the
turf.
turf. You could also be on the turf
Slurp
and
in
slurp.
turf.
And slurp.
Thank you. Exactly.
Yeah. What if
My
you're
friend did that
standing on
and he made a
football
grave
field?
mistake.
What if you become the turf and then you slurp?
You
Where
see,
this is
that's just
headed.
unrealistic.
I really don't like that. Yeah.
Anyways, Game Awards. Yeah, we're gonna be here with us.
World premiere.
World
Hang out, guys.
premiere.
We're going live 4:30 p.m. right here, twitch.tv/Good Kraken Show, December 8th. That's literally like a week and a half away.
Goddamn.
Are you guys stoked?
God
Are you
damn
guys stoked?
Goddamn. Let's go, son.
Day one on
Let's go,
Game
son.
Pass.
Yeah.
I'm fucking ready for it. Let's go.
Elden Ring's gonna win. Sorry.
God damn it.
True.
Fucking damn it.
Any truers?
Go check out our spoiler-free review for the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special after the show. You can find that on YouTube by finding us, The Good Kraken Show, clicking that beautiful bell and big red button.
Yep.
You will always be notified when we post our reviews.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Devin. Thank you, good sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go watch it.
So-
Go watch it.
Guys.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's time to turf slurp on that deck because it's hands on deck, baby.
All right. Turf slurp on that deck is what he said. That's the thing he said.
Yeah.
That's the thing that came out of his mouth. All right. What's going on for hands on deck, Devin?
Don't act like you hate it.
I don't. It's pretty good. It's pretty good stuff.
Guys, hands on deck is what we talk about, what we've been playing and or watching. And we talk about some of the content that we've recently played and watched, and we pitch it to you guys at home, and we let you know. We have quite a big segment on this today because our very Ernell has been playing through something really, really fun. But I want to throw out a little small
My dad
thing
does it
that
all
I
the
think
time.
everybody should watch. I've
Fast
been watching a show on HBO Max called Primal. This show is from the same creator as Samurai Jack. There is no
Primal.
dialogue in this show. Yes, it is awesome. It is about a barbarian who befriends a T-Rex and they survive in the wilds together. And it is so sweet. It is graphic. The animation is like an HD version of Samurai Jack. The fight sequences are brutal, and the sound design is actually really good for an animated show like this. This is definitely an adult themed show, and I just highly recommend it. I believe it's on Adult Swim, and that's what it's coming
where
through.
it aired originally on Adult Swim, like a long
Yeah.
time ago, I think.
3 years. 3 years exactly.
Yeah, but I started watching this and I love it. It's got that nostalgic Samurai Jack tone to it. I really dig it.
It's animated arc. Is Vin
Kinda,
Diesel?
yeah.
Kind of.
Is Vin
Yeah.
Diesel?
Yeah,
Jeff?
no,
Is that-
Sans Vin Diesel.
Damn.
Yeah.
Family.
But I recommend it. Everybody should definitely check it out, especially if you're looking for something to just kind of like throw on in the background. Definitely worth it.
Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Thank you for that, my good sir. That's a lovely little review.
So, before I try to sell you some Coke, Ernell, can you tell us what you're looking?
I think you did the beanie adjustment and then said it. Before I sell you some drugs, kids. Devin, I'm happy to let all of you guys know today that I have finally done it. I did it, boys.
He's done it.
Good old 42 hours later.
You got
and
pegs?
I finally did it. I got myself a turf slurp. And then allowed myself to play the wonderful God of War Ragnarok. Gentlemen, okay. So I gotta put away my giggles because this is a game not worth giggling over, okay? So here's the deal. Back in 2018, when God of War 2018 came out, we all played it. We fell in love with it. DJ didn't play it until 4 years later.
Hey man, I got to it.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay. As long as you got to it. That's all I'm saying. As long as you got to it, that's okay. We had one very, very big question by the time that we had all beaten that game. And that was, how the fuck are they going to follow up with us? Okay? Because, let's be real, that was a big pair of shoes to have to fucking fill as far as a follow-up, a sequel is concerned. And, boys, I'm here to tell you guys today that God of War Ragnarok is everything you could possibly imagine, wish for, want, desire in a sequel to God of War 2018 that was physically fucking possible, okay? I want to start this out by saying that Kratos, because of this game, is officially the best video game character I think we have ever seen, period, ever, in the history of fucking video games. I think God of War Ragnarok is better than any movie we've seen in the past 5 years. Like, this game is goddamn incredible, okay? And I really cannot extend that enough. Garrick, I know, is about a third of the way through the game. Him and I have kind of like loosely been texting about his progress as he made his way through. A third of the game is a good chunk of the way. Once you get to the end of the second act, where things really start to, like, the stakes become real, is when the game shines the brightest. And even when it's not shining its brightest, it is still vividly fucking in front of you. I think that this is just an outstanding sequel front to fucking back, man. Like, I could not get enough of this damn game. All the side content felt like main content. We had an opportunity to dig deeper into Kratos as a character, an opportunity to dig deeper into Atreus and their relationship together. It's just outstanding. So let me take a step back really, really quick. The game starts out years after God of War 2018. Atreus has grown up a little bit. Yeah, 3 years to be exact. Atreus has grown up a little bit. And what we have now is Kratos and Atreus now having built a relationship together. They built some level of tenure with each other, some really deep, like, skills that they've gotten since we've last seen them. And their relationship is stronger than it ever could have been. But Atreus is still looking for answers from what we saw at the end of God of War 2018. And a big part of those answers is Atreus looking for Tyr, because he knows that Tyr, the Norse God of War, is going to be the one that has the answers for him. And so this story effectively kind of starts off with them finding out that Atreus is looking for Tyr, and they find that out because one day Thor and Odin themselves come knocking on Kratos' door. And Odin gives them an ultimatum. I will leave you alone. We will leave you alone if you tell your son to stop looking for Tyr. And the game kicks off when Kratos says, no deal. And in the process, all of this, because we see it on the screen here, in the past few years, they have been constantly hunted down by Freya after the events of the end of God of War 2018, and they are in perma-survival mode, trying not to get murked by Freya at every turn and every single corner. Things go wildly out of control from the point of them looking for Tyr and things moving on from there. And it goes from like 20 to fucking 100 in a matter of just a few hours. The opening, you guys saw it on stream. If you guys haven't seen it on stream, definitely, if you don't want spoilers, wait up, play it yourselves. If you did play it in the beginning, there's a fight that's in the first couple of hours of the game that is just fucking outstanding, and it has to do with Thor and their sort of representation with Thor and having him be such a contrast to what we know as Thor in Marvel with Chris Hemsworth was just so pleasantly done, because Thor in this is this sort of overgrown man-child that kind of just does what he wants when he wants, and he is the epitome of what Kratos once was when he was kind of coming up as a god. And so having Thor and Odin kind of come up to their fucking cabin one day, just the same way that Baldur did in 2018, we get this contrast of Kratos being like, fuck off. I don't want anything to fucking do with you. Don't have anything to do with my son. And it's just so completely well done from that angle. I have to say that this game is God of War 2018 on crack. They have basically given you the same game for 2018 with additions to it. The scale is exactly what I was saying that I wanted. You are fighting multiple creatures that are 2, 3, 4, 5 times the size of Kratos in this game, and it feels impeccable every single time you run into him. What's up, Garrick?
That's one in a row. I got to the scene because you kind of know where I'm at right now. And I got to the scene where you're visiting with a certain character and going to see a grandparent, mayhaps.
Yes.
And I was like, I literally was just like, Ernell was probably so fucking happy this happened. Like,
Dude, Dude, it's fucking phenomenal, man. Listen, okay, so as you guys know, like I don't have a lot of free time, right? I forced myself to get some free time for this game because this, obviously being a massive fan of God of War 2018 and falling in love with that fucking game, and then now having this follow-up that is just as good, arguably better than God of War 2018, and having all of the side content just as openly available to you, and it feels better. It transitions better. All the side content feels like a part of the main story. They actually give you reasons for wanting to do them that are driven by the characters. And the beautiful part about this game is that even though we're invested in Kratos and Atreus and their relationship and their characters in this story that we're kind of being told to us again, all of the other characters around them flourish just as much as they do. Like every single actor in this game is fucking wonderfully done in every aspect that they possibly could have been. I think that like this is just I cannot give this game enough fucking accolades, dude. It looks beautiful, even though it's using the same engine as 2018 God of War. It looks outstanding. On the PS5 specifically, the haptic feedback on it feels really, really good. It doesn't feel like it's throwaway. I feel like that the art is like something that really stands out because this time you actually get to travel all 9 realms in this game. Every single realm available to you, you travel at some point or another, or can travel at some point or another, and each one is like a Disneyland ride. It feels like you're visiting another world, like a whole different world from separate from each other that has different environmental mechanics, different enemies that handle things differently. You have to use different weapons against different enemies and different combinations against them. There's status effects now that you can do on your enemies. There are combinations that are better when enemies have status effects on them. Everything just sort of connected together in this game makes it this elevated experience that I could not stop. I was putting in 2, 3, 4 hours in this game every single night because I just could not stop thinking about this game. It was so fucking incredibly well done. And we get a conclusion to this segment of the story in a way that feels so vastly earned, 1, because of God of War 2018, and 2, because the ramp up in this story, in this part of the story here, of this being a sequel, is so smooth throughout the course of things because they add stakes. And Odin playing as this big bad in the game, the main antagonist of the game, who's moving all these puzzle pieces, is just, oh god, dude, they did such a good job with making Odin this sort of like overarching lord, this god that is just like sort of like moving all these things around and making all these things happen and manipulating the situation. You thoroughly fucking hate this guy by the end of the game. And at the same time, all these other characters that are kind of in the middle ground of being a bad guy or a good guy, or they're like handling their own things, they have a turn, and you start appreciating their characters too, because nobody in this game is really like evil just for the sake of being evil, right? We talk about this in Marvel all the time. Like the best characters, the ones that like aren't just assholes because they're assholes because they have a drive to why they're doing what they're doing. And even though it's fucked up, you can still kind of connect and say like, I get it though. You know what I mean? And that's every single character in this game. You understand where they're coming from. You understand why they're doing what they're doing. And everything connects together to make sense in the best way possible. I guess the last thing really that I want to say at all is this 100% like needs to be a game that you play like as soon as fucking possible. I don't think that you need to play this game in the most phenomenal, amazing graphical fidelity like as possible, because it, like I said, it does kind of use the God of War 2018 engine to do what it's doing. Most of what makes it feel good is just what you're seeing in front of you happen, rather than, all the beautiful 2000 pixels you could potentially have in front of you. I played this on performance mode on my PS5. I did not play it in the high graphical fidelity setting because I didn't need it. 1080 is totally just fine for me as long as the frame rate's smooth. And oh boy, is the frame rate fucking smooth in this. I'll tell you what. Absolutely play this fucking game as soon as you possibly fucking can. I don't want to spoil anything important for you guys because I want you to play it. I want you to experience it right away. But there's some shit that happens like in near beginning of the fucking game that you're like, oh shit. And that's literally what Garrick texted me.
Oh, dude, literally.
Where he was like, oh, fuck.
I was like,
yeah.
they fucking did it. And I was like, oh, fuck, they fucking did it.
Yeah. I played the first 2 hours.
You did?
Yeah, I played the first 2 hours.
Yeah. Oh, so. Well, just you wait, man. just fucking wait. Yeah.
It literally, like, every moment I've played of that game has just, like, I was like, and it's, like, piled on. And piles on.
Yep. It just keeps adding the entire time that you're having experience. Now, what I do want to say too is that like it's not without its flaws. There are some things that I do think that the game has that is not necessarily lacking, but I think is different than the first game. That is kind of like just mildly like in distaste for me personally, and I don't know if it's a personal taste thing or not. One of those things is the Valkyries from 2018 God of War have been replaced with something called Berserkers in this game, and they're kind of just like big, bulky, ghost, phantom, like Viking soldier dudes. Like think of the Ghost Army in Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, right? They're like that, but big, bulky, huge Viking guys. And they're like, super fast, super strong. But aesthetically, I felt like the fighting them didn't feel quite as fulfilling as fighting the Valkyries did in the last game. That is something that I feel kind of takes it away a little bit, especially post-game, looking at end-game content in God of War, where the end-game content was so strong in 2018, which, I mean, they do have the trials in Muspelheim again. You can do that again. It is a little bit more difficult than it was in the first game, but the Berserkers are just not nearly as cool as the Valkyries are, which I guess is, just more of a personal taste thing. I'm sure someone out there is like, yo, this is fucking cool. I'm a Viking and I live in Idaho, which is totally fine. Totally fine. If that's what you want. That's what you want, dude. But I think that everything else in the game makes up for any flaw that I could even possibly think of as far as like mechanics, how everything feels. You get a new weapon in this game, and it feels fucking phenomenal. Just wait until you get there, Garrick. I'll tell you what.
I think I'm pretty close.
You're getting there. Yeah, it's at the end of the second act. I'll tell you that much.
Okay.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure I just started the second act. Ah, shit, I need to play tonight now.
Yep, there you go, man. There you go. I'll tell you what, my friend. Yeah, dude. So with that said, I mean, if you guys have any questions at all, go ahead, DJ.
I have a question. Mia has a question.
Yes, go. Yes, DJ Simfix from the Good Kraken podcast. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, DJ Simfix from the Good Kraken podcast here. So some of the other complaints that I've heard other people say, which are very little, but there's another one that Moist Critical brought up. That was like some of the puzzles that you saw in like the first game are back, and they're better, they're improved, right, in this next game. But he cited that the characters do get backseaty with you, like right away with some of the puzzles.
They do in the way that like Horizon Zero Dawn and like The Last of Us do, where they can get a little bit backseaty for you, but like honestly, I never really paid that much attention to it. There were some times where it gets a little bit egregious, and I was like, okay, come on, Mimir. I heard you the first time.
On the flip side, though, there's been a couple of times where like my elevated ass has been playing, right, and I'm staring at the screen, and I'm like, I don't fucking understand what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. I'm like frustrated with it, and then Mimir says something, and I'm like, "Oh, thank fuck! No. I want to move on."
100%, 100%, dude. Like, and so, like, even though, yeah, sure, sometimes it does get a little bit egregious, I think it is way more helpful than it is unhelpful, and it's It's just a small little knack. Like I don't think it takes away from the experience as much as people are like wanting to pretend that it does, because the game itself is still magnificent. Like now here's the deal.
Yeah.
The puzzle thing, I saw someone tweet out, like, when the game had first come out, like within like the first 3 days, they said God of 60% puzzles and 40% war. And I would say it's a little bit closer to 50-50. There is a lot of puzzling in this game. There's a lot of puzzling in this game.
How many of those leave you puzzled?
I got stuck a couple of times. There were a few times that had me fucking bazoonked off. But there is a good amount of puzzles in this. But for every like puzzle there's an outstanding combat moment that like immediately makes up for it. Like the first game, like one of my biggest complaints of 2018 God of War was that all the enemies kind of just felt samey. And in this, like, they do kind of start to feel a little bit samey, but every time you start to feel that way, they have a new enemy type come up, or they have a enemy type you've ran into that is uncommon that pops up. Like, there's one that's called a Drocker, I think it was, but it's like an electrical alligator that like only shows up in the game probably like 5 times. But like
Dreki.
Yeah. They only show up about like 5 or 6 times in the game, but every time you do, you're like, oh fuck! Like,
Yeah,
and then
like,
you have to.
I gotta deal with this guy again. Like,
Sometimes you have to fight 2 of them. Like there's a couple situations where like you start to feel like, okay, I've kind of been fighting the same fucking thing for a while now, and I'm over it, right? And then they throw in this sort of like uncommon, obnoxious, pain in the ass enemy to sort of mix things up a little bit. You're like, damn it, it's a commander, or like something like that, to kind of like throw you off your heels a little bit. But go ahead.
So how do you feel about the way that the relationship between Kratos and Atreus develops in this one compared to the first one?
I cried 3 times in this game. So there's a number of times where you see Kratos and Atreus' relationship feel full and earned and just brilliantly well written. And like there's times where you feel what Kratos is feeling, this sort of level of like, I just want to protect my son. Like, that's all I want. And like the impact of playing this game, like me being a father, especially to now an older child than when she was when 2018 God of War came out. And my daughter's sentient now. So I talk to my daughter. I like have conversations with her. Like there's a personal attachment that I have to Kratos in this game that reflects on me saying that I think that he's the best video game character we've ever had, because he is across the course of all the God of War games, right? We land here at God of War Ragnarok, where Kratos is more dynamic than we've ever seen him be before. And right now, Garrick's kind of just barely teetering that mark. And we see Kratos sort of like just wanting so badly to have this relationship with his son now that they've sort of built that over the past few years. And it feels good. And then you start running into some shit with Atreus being Atreus, and you're like, fuck, kid, like, can you stop, man? Like, but you get it though, because the actor who plays Atreus, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Sonny Soljic.
Sonny, yes, yeah. He's back to play Atreus again, and he plays that character so well. Like it's insane, dude. And now that he's actually done some projects outside of God of War since 2018 to now, he actually has chops, and he's more of a prevalent character in this game now than just the sort of side character follower accompaniment that you had in the first game. He's actually a character now, and so their dialogue between each other is extravagant, to the sense that Kratos is just trying to say, like, I'm trying to protect you, and he was like, I get that you're trying to protect me, but I have to do this. Like, I have to figure this out. I need answers. I need to know why. I need to know this. I need to know that. And Kratos is like, well, fuck, I can't blame you. And then like Mimir is like sitting on your saddle, kind of like, come on, brother.
The whole time, dude.
Just the entire goddamn time, man. That's great. But yeah, no, I would absolutely say like their dynamic in this is tenfold what it was in 2018 God of War, and that already was magnificent. You just get to see them in a more raw level in this game now. And my first time crying is a very early part of the game where they sort of have this like heart to heart where Kratos is such a different character now, where he basically says, okay, like I'll follow you to the end. And you're like, fuck, man. Like I've been playing these God of War games for fucking 2 decades, dog. And like, I was not prepared for Kratos to be like that. And then halfway through the game, there's one point that like some people are starting to meme a little bit. And it's fucking cracking me up. But like, there's a part where like, Atreus and Kratos get into a fight, and Atreus is trying to like walk away from Kratos and like goes to like leave, and Kratos comes, you like slamming the door open. He's like, boy, from like across like the way, and it like looks goofy as shit. But like the ramp up in their conversation, like how they like go head to head because Atreus is older now. He's not as afraid to argue with Kratos anymore. Their argument leading up to Atreus like being fuck off is so fucking good. Like it feel like this entire show feels like watching a stage play. This entire game, excuse me, feels like watching a stage play.
There are some moments where it feels like a show.
It feels like a show, dude. Like you can, there's videos on YouTube right now that are like literally just God of War Ragnarok cutscenes, and it's 7 hours long. Like. There's a lot of cutscenes in this that feel right because of the one shot camera, right? That they brought that back into this, as well as all of these characters that you run into, that you see, not just Kratos and Atreus, all feel alive. They feel alive. They feel real. They feel like actual characters with actual stakes and actual lives. And every realm feels like it's living. Every character feels like it's living. It's fucking outstanding, man. Anyways, I don't want to take up too much time because we want to get into Andor talk a little bit. What I can say, again, play this right away. You absolutely need to experience this game. I'm thinking about replaying it again, doing some more endgame content, playing the fucking game on New Game Plus at some point. I cannot enough times say like you need to play this goddamn game. If I could give this game a 15 out of fucking 10, I would. This game's a 10 out of 10 any fucking clean day of the week. Any day of the goddamn week. There's an argument to be made that Ragnarok is better than 2018. I think they're both just as good as each other for different reasons, but neither are lacking. Any flaw that I had in 2018 God of War, and God of War Ragnarok, null and doesn't fucking matter because like everything else in the game is so fucking good. Any flaw I can think of, fuck it. It's whatever. It's child's play. Yeah, 10 out of 10. That's me, baby. Let's go. Play God of War Ragnarok.
Hell yeah.
I can't wait to finish it when that time comes. I definitely am playing a lot of games all at once, though, right now.
Well, stop it, because God of War Ragnarok's worth it.
Hey, I'm playing Pokemon, too.
I need to get back on it. I got my Switch charging right here. Actually, I gotta get back into that. I got my Pokemon like level 15 right now. I gotta dive back in. I beat the first gym leader.
You.
I got the first gym leader, and I was like, fuck, I gotta get back on a God of War. And so like, I had to do it, boys. I had to do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm stoked to play it. That was a very.
I'm playing more tonight.
Review.
Like. I was gonna play other games, but now I'm playing that because
fuck yeah, you are. Fuck yeah, you are, dude. Garrick, man, listen, guys. I'll tell you one thing. There's a war at the end of this game, and it feels good. It feels good.
Does it have gods?
So ready.
No way.
It does have gods.
So
it
fucking ready.
Fucking hype. It is the hypest shit on the fucking planet, man. I'll tell you what. Oh man,
sick.
God damn it, man. I'll tell you what. All right. Anyways, I'm not gonna say anymore.
Also, the hypest shit on the planet right now is our next segment. But before we move to our next segment, I want to remind everybody that they can support us over on our Discord. Soon you can get early access on this episode before it goes public. You can write into the show and you can get this episode ad-free. But if you're hearing this right now, you probably aren't in your Discord. So for now, here's a word from our sponsors.
This piece of good Kraken content is brought to you by Glide mousepads. The world is changing and the demand for PC gaming and work from home setups has never been as wild as it is right now. Having the best of the best in PC accessories only makes it easier to get your work done before you jump right back into the fray of the digital sea. And Glide knows exactly how to make that happen for you. Glide Mousepads is the future industry leader in mousepads, offering beautiful, smooth, waterproof products made with eco-friendly materials and non-slip rubber in a variety of sizes that are guaranteed to help you get that next win. Now, if you're like me and you spend a lot of time in your command center, whether it's streaming, editing, or designing, you need a quality mousepad that can keep up with that constant grind. You can go to glidemousepads.com right now and use code KRAKEN for 15% off the Founders Edition mousepad in every size available. Again, that's code KRAKEN, KRAKEN, for 15% off any Founders Edition mousepad today.
Our next sponsor is Rogue Energy. Late nights are pretty much commonplace for us content creators, and any of us here at GK can attest that sometimes you're just too damn tired to even think about how not to be tired any longer. Lucky for us, though, Rogue has figured out how to give those late nights and even earlier mornings the supercharge that we all need. Rogue Energy is a low-calorie, no-sugar energy formula that is the perfect alternative to sugar-filled canned energy drinks and sodas. Every formula Rogue Energy produces is designed with optimal levels of high-quality ingredients and no chalky textures. Being the only gaming drink company in the world with 4 unique product lines to suit your task at hand, Rogue Energy strives to improve the in-game performance of gamers, streamers, and content creators around the globe. Check it. We have been drinking the ever-living crap out of this stuff. If I'll be completely honest with you, me, Devin, Garrick, Xander, Raven, Genesee, all of us here at GK absolutely adore this drink. It helps us in the mornings, helps us in the evenings. You guys know how it is. We've been going on about this forever, and it is no exception now. It's still taking care of us to this day. You can head on over to rogueenergy.com and use code GKRAKEN for 10% off your purchase of any shaker or formula tub of your choosing. That's GKRAKEN for 10% off any shaker or formula tub that you'd like. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back
Oh,
to an episode of the Good Kraken Show.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I started Wednesday. Anyways, guys, the time is upon us.
It is, boys. Let's fucking talk
It's
about
time
it.
to protect your neck because this is the Gallows. All right. Today, we have the season 1, part 1 review of the new Disney Plus hit. Yes, I say hit, Andor. That is right. We're doing a spoiler-free review of Andor season 1, part 1. Guys, this was released September 21st, 2022, created by Tony Gilroy, who is behind the Bourne series, Rogue One, Nightcrawler, and Armageddon, with a budget of 15 to 25 million per episode, with no box office and a runtime of 38 to 57 minutes per episode. Guys,
Yes.
we got some trivia. Let's dive
go.
in.
Let's fucking do it.
The volume digital backdrops are a revolutionary filmmaking technology using Unreal Engine, allowing for near photoreal environments using a digital screen as an evolution of chroma key and used extensively for previous Star Wars shows. But the technology still has its limitations, and that created an unfortunate uniformity of the look and design of those shows. Tony Gilroy sought to bring in new people into a whole process instead of the standard crew, opting not to use the volume because of the background plates are handled in pre-production and you're just adding the actors to it. So Andor chose to film chiefly on physical sets and real locations with sometimes hundreds of extras, minimally using volume like technology in support of real sets like the backdrop outside of windows, making for a very sharp looking show that rivals the films. And boy, I will tell you, the cinematics in this show are breathtaking. Some of those shots, the phenomenal.
The only time they used the volume digital was for any of the Coruscant scenes, like in the background. That's the only time they used it.
Right. Coruscant, like any spaceship, moment, things like that. Little tiny moments for filling up space. And I think that was a really smart move because the show feels Star Wars. It feels Star Wars as fuck, and I thought it was a good move too.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And they did a really good job on building the sets
Mm.
as well to like kind of counteract with everything that they had going on.
Mm.
Um, the series is now confirmed to be 2 12-episode seasons, with the second season leading directly up to Cassian Andor's first appearance in Rogue One, a Star Wars story in 2016.
So,
In contrast to, yeah,
I was going to say, so it's no longer a 2-part first season.
Yeah.
We're just splitting into 2
Yeah.
seasons now. Yeah, which is, I
Yeah.
think, fine. Like, I'm okay with that,
Yeah.
honestly.
yeah, yeah. 100%. Show is phenomenal, and we'll get into it.
Yeah.
In contrast to previous live action Star Wars shows, The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, along with the animated Star Wars The Bad Batch, Tony Gilroy confirmed that Andor would be much less reliant on Easter eggs as a driving force of the plot, as all 4 aforementioned series faced some criticisms for its cameo-heavy episodes. While there are certainly nods to past and future events, as well as several blink and you miss it references, none of them are done in such a way that they necessitate viewing of the show or movie. Guys, some of those little Easter eggs were pretty lit. Like they had the Sith Lord armor from Force Unleashed.
Oh, dude, they have way more than
The
that.
one just
that
chilling. Oh yeah, just
that
yeah,
entire
I know.
shop. That entire shop is Easter eggs, man. Like they
Yeah.
made up all the Easter eggs for the show into
It
just
was
that
just right
one shop.
there.
Yeah, just made it
Yeah.
super easy to access, man.
What was that? The little pyramid thing that they used? They used that to locate.
Holocron.
Yeah, the holocron. Yeah, lots of very
Goddamn,
good
dude.
things.
Goddamn, let's go.
Guys, we're gonna start with everybody's thoughts, and you know, I need some reviews from you guys. Don't go into too much detail. We don't want to spoil this because this is
Of course.
great experience. But Ernell, can you start us off, baby? Tell the people.
My friend. I would love to do that for you. Guys, Andor is a fucking wonderful show. I think that Mandalorian set up a pace, like an expectation for us that was really, really high. I was one of the people that fell in love with Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2. Magnificent fucking piece of content, especially Star Wars content. Andor, I feel, hits the way that it does because it's not just a good Star Wars story. It's just a good story. I think that the pacing of the entire show is incredibly well thought out in the process of them sort of like building everything that they needed to do to tell the story of Cassian Andor throughout this first season. They really nailed this landing, man. Like I could not emphasize that enough. The entire show feels like an espionage story turned into a getting caught story, to a jailbreak story, to a hype story, like and everything sort of unfolds in front of you at a pace that like feels right. It just felt right to be following Andor throughout all of this fuckery that is happening that he's involved in, and getting the backstory with him. I at first could not give a fuck less about this guy going into it. Like when they first announced the show, I was like, why the fuck would we need that? Like he's so like not in that important of a character in Rogue One. Like he is because he's a part of Rogue One, but like he's not because it's Andor, right? Like he's just kind of there. But as the season gets into like episode 3, I was like, fuck, man, I'm here for this ride, dude. like, God damn it, man. And they make us give a shit about Andor. They make us give a shit about this dude that like really had no like business being involved in Rogue One, but he was there, and now we're like, oh, dude, he's been a part of this fucking rebellion since day 1. He's an OG, my guy. Like he is absolutely here to win it, dog. Like, and that's magnificent in and of itself. But I think that this episode being this season being 12 episodes, was a very, very good choice. I think that the pacing of everything was incredibly well written. They put things together the way that they needed to be put together. They made us care about characters that we wouldn't have cared about otherwise. The entire middle, like 3 episodes of the show is probably some of my favorite Star Wars content, if not my favorite Star Wars content to date. damn, dude, like I really don't like have no clue how to emphasize it anymore, but like this show was gold. This show was gold from front to fucking back, man. I wasn't prepared for it. Like I went into it with, you know, some hesitancies. I was like, sure, Star Wars show, like Boba Fett was okay, like I'm here for it, you know, like some of the other stuff that we've gotten has been pretty lit. I'm sure this will be lit too, right? Not realizing that the show is going to be like double lit, right? Like this was like the bonfire at the campsite lit, dude. Like this show is fucking good, man. And I really don't even know any other way to fucking phrase that enough, man. Like y'all need to watch this fucking show if you haven't yet. I'll tell you what, because this is a 12 episode banger front to fucking back, man.
Absolutely. Like the writing in this show is just some of the best, like not just like action writing, but just drama. Like the lead up, the dialogue, the conversations, the way that the characters interact, the way that the relationships are building up, the way that the plot unfolds, entirely all through dialogue. Like 90% of the show.
Tension.
And
like,
the shots they do these shots instead of like when they're doing close-ups and the people are centered, they do these off-center shots and they like do it from like angles and from behind that like just gives you this like this claustrophobic tension. You're like, who's gonna show up behind them? What's about to happen? Is this person getting offed right now? Like it's and the color palettes, like the dark contrast to it, it's just so good. Before I say anything else, DJ, my guy, what did you think of Andor?
I hated it.
Nice. And that's the end of the Good Kraken
podcast. Just kidding. Show is pretty good. At first I was kind of with Ernell. I'm like, why should I care? And why is it like, I feel like, you know, this, like, at first I was like, this story doesn't need to be in the Star Wars universe. I don't like, it doesn't, I don't feel like it fits anywhere with anything I've seen prior. But as I got through the slow start, it does start off slow. I have to mention that it does start off slow for me. People who are slightly neurodivergent, you know, it's going to be a little bit tough getting through the first couple episodes, but once you get that, it does pay off very well. It makes you, it rewards you for getting through that first initial part, and then you start getting more invested with these characters and how the story is going to play out. There's a lot of different subplots going on, and you can kind of see that without it being like outwardly mentioned. Like you already kind of get the gist of what's going on in these with these different characters and what they want, their motivations. That's why I think everyone on the show is well casted. Everyone acted really well. You can see physically the characters' motivations just by their actions and how they speak to how they interact with everyone else in their environment. Yeah, and then that prison is, there's a prison escape scene segment that made this show worth it for me.
Hard.
At first, I was still on the fence. I was still on the fence about Andor, but you know, after that prison escape scene, I was in. I was like, okay, now you got me. I'm there,
dude.
I'm with you. I'm on this side now. So,
if I may, the episode before it, the very ending, when he says never more than 12, was the most ridiculously hype ass shit I've ever experienced in Star Wars content in my fucking life, dog. Even more than like the ending of Mandalorian's like season 2, when that happens, this shit had me fucking losing my mind. I was like, fuck, let's go. It's so good, dude.
12.
Oh my god, man. Anyways, continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, continue, please.
And you know, that had me hooked. You know, I wanted to finish it with towards the end, and you know, the ending is very satisfying. Honestly, if it ended right there, you know, I would have been satisfied with it. But we're getting another season, so I want to see how that next season plays out. And it has made me intrigued enough to rewatch Rogue One, because frankly I don't remember anything about it. I have watched it before, but I don't remember anything about it since I watched it on release. Since it's an old ass movie, 6 years ago. It's terrible.
Old ass movie. He said 6 years ago. It's an old ass movie. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
it's hard to remember movies when you're 12 years old. I know.
Yeah. Dude,
7 years ago. It's
I was
almost
24.
Almost 7.
Man,
Yeah, I was
7
24
years.
when that movie came out.
it's hard out here, bro. It's hard out here.
Yeah.
I was 16, or
That's-
about almost 16.
Good movie, man. Good movie. You should watch it.
Yeah, great movie.
I'll
Great movie,
rewatch
definitely.
it. I won't rewatch it for Donnie Yen. That's all I want to rewatch it for.
Good choice. Good
He
choice.
does great. He does great. I'm probably
So
gonna
Andor
wait to
was in
watch that
Rogue
show.
One. He's in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of the main characters.
So, really?
Well, see, that goes to exactly what I was saying though, is that like he's not really like a main character in Rogue One. Like he's there, he's involved, he's doing stuff, like he's involved in what's going on, like the grand
He's the
scale
main
of things.
character.
He's the secondary protagonist.
He is, but there's
Yeah.
like 8 main characters in that fucking movie, right? Like,
And he's the second most prominent one.
yes, but he's not like the main character, and it's weird. Like,
No, he's
Is
not.
this same? Is the same actor and everything?
Yeah.
Dude, I do not remember
No,
that.
yeah,
man's
Diego
face.
Luna.
I get it.
I don't
I get
remember
it.
that man's face at all.
No,
I was like,
I
damn,
totally
this new
understand.
character. Why should I care?
I probably wouldn't remember if I was Church and Slurp too.
Nice,
Look, man,
nice.
it's just so long ago. 7 years is a long time.
Anyways, DJ,
I
final
remember.
thoughts. Go ahead.
Anyways, Yeah.
That was it. I like the show.
All right.
Question. Was it? You remember how we were telling you to just keep going? Once you hit the end of episode 3, where you're like, oh, okay, okay.
I wasn't like, oh, okay. I just the thing about this show is it like I know it's setting me up for something big, and I told myself, I'm like, if this doesn't pay out the way I want it to, or in a satisfying way, I'm dropping the show.
He's I quit good
'cause,
Kraken.
like,
I'm never being on that
yeah,
podcast.
like I'm
man.
not. I don't like because like I watch it the rest of it for review's sake, but like if it doesn't pay off the way that I want it to, or the in a satisfying way, it's not gonna get a good score from me. But luckily,
Yeah.
it does. Each episode kind of piecemeals you enough to be like, okay, what's gonna come after this? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm tentative, but I still
Mhm.
do want to see a little bit more. So that's
No.
how the entire show felt until that prison escape scene, or when he's in prison in general. That's when shit started ramping up for me, and I'm like, okay, now you have me hooked.
Yep.
But for the episodes
Fucking
before that,
episode 7.
Yep.
yeah, like episodes before that, I'm like, I don't know if I really care. The raid scene was cool. I wouldn't say
Mhm.
it was amazing. But because like the prison scene is the only thing I noted in my head that's like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
Like,
money.
okay, this is a
money
good show.
shot,
Good
dog,
show
yeah.
now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. I got you.
Hell yeah. Well, Eric, my boy, as the biggest Star Wars nerd out of all of us here. What did you think of Andor?
First off, I would like to say this show is very fresh in my brain. I chose not to consume the content like a regular person.
You motherfucker.
So instead of sleeping
This
last
dude had
night, I
3
watched
weeks.
Andor.
This dude had
You
3
watched
weeks,
Andor?
dog. All right, what's up?
So, honestly, I would like to start off by saying I absolutely love Rogue One. It is one of my favorite pieces of Star Wars content.
Best Star Wars
Um,
movie.
It is.
Almost.
It is.
Yeah,
it's almost.
I would say
It's
that,
almost
yeah.
my personal favorite. It's real fucking close. I really enjoyed that movie, and everything I loved about it was the fact that it was about the characters. It was about the little person, and it had jack shit all to do with the Jedi, the Sith, and the Force. And like, as much as I absolutely love those things, it's just nice to get like that palate cleanser perspective that you just so rarely get. in the Star Wars universe, right? Because even with the Mandalorian, like first episode, like the Force is involved, right? Like you're seeing, like it's there. It's just so prevalent in the universe. It's so hard to escape it in any piece of Star Wars content.
Yeah.
And when they do escape from it, and the story still feels meaningful to the universe, and does this expand on lore? No. Does it deepen pre-existing lore and pre-existing canon on this, like on the silver screen? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like you know, like it just deepens it from, but that's like the weird thing about this show, right? Is you kind of at the end of the day, you know where the story ends.
Yeah. If you've seen Rogue
Right?
One.
Because
yeah.
because it's a prequel series, right? But it doesn't diminish any of the characters, I think, which is what I feel is really, really good about this show. And this show's use of practical effects and their use of actors that were playing really, really well written characters rather than like them just like stepping into like a suit, like an actor's, like a character suit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and like it feels like they're actually putting like some effort into like actually playing the character rather than just be like, all right, you're Tony Stark now. This is exactly what Tony Stark is like. You just do this.
Yeah.
Right. But they're like, there's like, they have like their own personal take on the characters.
Like some nuance.
Yes, yes, thank you. That's perfect. That's a great way to describe it. Like there's some nuance to the characters and like you feel it, and everybody's like little different takes on their characters and like the subtle things about their characters. And I think it shows so much personally for me in Stellan Skarsgård's character.
God
Luthen.
damn.
Oh my
God
Holy
so
damn.
good.
Let's go.
So good.
Like I loved his character almost more than I loved Andor.
Yeah.
And it
Luthen.
got really, really solidified in his monologue that he gives in episode 10.
My God, that monologue goes
And he
so
was just like,
fucking
yeah,
hard,
where he's
dude.
just like, and what do you sacrifice?
Yeah.
And he was just like, what do I sacrifice? And then he fucking like, let me count the fucking ways.
God damn, dude.
Like that scene was so good. Like specifically the line where he's just like, I burn my life to make a sunrise I'll never see.
God damn.
Mm.
God damn, son. And it comes off the back of getting the phenomenal monologue from Andy Serkis. Just
From
a
Andy
couple
Serkis'
episodes
character
prior.
the prior
And-
episode.
Oh my God.
then Andor's mother's model.
Dude,
at
I
the
was gonna say, you get not one, not two, but three
Three.
incredibly impactful Star Wars speeches in the show where you're just like,
Yeah.
yes, that fucking felt good and it felt right. I was really skeptical going into this show. I actually even had those same sort of worries with those first 3 episodes. But they were setting up a lot, right? Even though we know where like the story ends, like they still had they still had to build the vehicle to get us there. And those first 3 episodes were that, and they didn't do it poorly at all. It just, you could tell this was going to be one of those slow burn sorts of shows. Like this was just, that's the kind of show it is. But episode 3 onward, it's some of the best Star Wars content I have ever had the fucking treat of laying my eyes on, dude.
Let's go.
Like
boy.
it
Let's
impressed
go.
me so much. It did everything that I enjoyed about Rogue One, but like made it grittier and darker and edgier. And it just had this tone that is so absent from other pieces of Star Wars content that it set itself apart immediately.
Yeah.
Like within the first 5 minutes of the first episode, you're just like, damn, they're dead as fuck. And you're just like, oh, it's gonna be one of those, right? And you're just like, it immediately the show snowballs in this spectacular way, right? And like they just used all of their elements really well, where like it felt really grand in some moments, or like we got those great monologues, right? We got like the season finale with like the marching band and like the big festivities
And the
right, for the
dopest
ceremony.
fucking music.
Like,
God damn.
which is why the fuck was that the coolest marching band to ever exist? Right?
Seriously.
And then you got like we have the prison riot and the prison break, you know, and then like the heist scene where like it's the escape scene specifically, right?
Yeah.
With like
That's
with
good.
the
Mhm.
meteor shower, you're just
Yep.
like, that was fucking incredibly beautiful. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I want to touch on that. I think that scene is one of the most beautiful sci-fi Star Wars cinematic moments I've ever seen. Going
I
through
think
that.
it is the second. I think it is the second most beautiful scene in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Behind
What's
what?
your first?
Behind what?
The first most beautiful scene. You can talk as much fucking shit as you want on these movies, all you want, but the hyperspace collision scene in The Last Jedi was fucking dumb. Like that
It was pretty
shit
cool.
went
It was pretty
so
dope.
fucking hard.
It was pretty dope. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
But I'm talking about just gorgeous.
Dude, it really
Yeah.
was. Like it was just you were awestruck.
My
And
jaw
it just
dropped.
it had just such great individual powerful moments, and no character felt wasted in this show. Every
Mhm.
character felt like
Mm.
it had a purpose, like down to B2, right? Like at the from the
Mhm.
very beginning, you're like, every character serves like a purpose. And I don't know, it just felt like such a different piece of Star Wars content that I feel like I've fucking really been wanting, especially because they canceled the game that was essentially going to be this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like I've got that, like I'm feeling satiated on like that sort of story, and I know, like, even though I know where it's going to end, right, like leading into Rogue One, I want to see how we get there in the second season. I'm just like, I really want to know, like, now that we're in for the long haul. He's just like, yep, we're committed, fuck the Empire, I'm in, right? Like, because that's how it ends up at the end, right?
Yep.
And we're like,
Mhm.
so now I want to see how we up the ante in that second season on those powerful speeches, those great impactful moments, because like they've got to keep the momentum somehow, right?
Yeah.
And so like I've just it's just got my curiosity piqued like a lot as to like what it's gonna do in its second season. I was really impressed with this show. Like if you're a fan of the original Star Wars trilogy, this is the best piece of content for you to watch.
Period.
Mhm.
Period, my friend.
Guys,
Devin, what'd you think
Guys.
of Andor?
I have been singing praises about this show for weeks, trying to get all of my friends to watch this show. The first 5 minutes, I'd say 10 minutes of this show, I was immediately hooked. I was like, this is dark. This is not like other Star Wars, content at all. This is from a creator of a trilogy that I love, which is the Bourne's trilogy. I actually love those movies. So he did a lot of production for House of Cards, which fuck Kevin Spacey, but that show for the first few seasons was actually a phenomenal show. So I was instantly hooked just off of those matters. And of course, Rogue One is my favorite Star Wars story as well. We touched on it. The cinematography in this show is sets itself apart from the other Star Wars movies out there, from scene to scene, from the set builds, from the color palettes they use, the character design, the clothing, all of that, the tension that they build in a scene without a character even having to say something, those quiet shots that they do from time to time. I loved it, and just seeing the way that the characters are thinking about their actions and other actions and the plans that they're making, you can see them like taking it in and thinking about what they're going to do next or what the plan is. Diego Luna's performance is, I think, fantastic. Stellan Skarsgård stole the show, of course, when he was in it, but I thought Diego did a great job, and he's becoming one of my favorite actors, honestly. I need to see him in more espionage, drama, thriller style content, like really bad. I think he would be great, moving forward and things like that.
Stellan Skarsgård's pretty notorious for stealing the fucking show, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
surprising,
he
man.
does
When I saw him in this, I was
Yeah.
like, fuck, dude, I'm gonna fall in love with this character so hard.
Oh yeah, and the subtle hints at what he might be a part of or used to be a part of throughout the series too. I was having a talk. Who was I talking about with it? Was it you, Ernell? Was I
Maybe.
talking to you And then we were talking, you're like, I don't know. And then I pointed out a few things, and you're immediately like, oh, never mind.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. But Luton's ship, man, has to be one of the coolest ships I've seen in Star Wars. Like those
Dude, he's
lasers
fucking
that come
space
out the
Batman.
side. He is, dude, 100%.
They definitely
No,
show it in like the last episode too, where you're like, fuck, dude, like holy shit.
He's space Batman, bro.
Yeah, he's like space Batman and like space like 007 at the same time. Like straight. And I love it. I love it. Like I it's been a long time since I've watched anything that's espionage based, and this really just hit the nostalgic spot in so many ways compared to like the Bourne series or like even the James Bond movies. Like it felt like a James Bond TV series in Star Wars, and I love that. Um, the for me, what kept, because I did kind of feel that little dead draw, like I'd say about episode 2, like the end of episode 1 between episode 2. But episode 3 for me, with the way that it got so climatic throughout that episode and to the lengths that they went between all the characters and the actions people were taking, and also seeing the very real costs that all these characters have and how they're actually displaying death in Star Wars in a way that like makes it feel like a traumatic loss for the characters, is really what got me interested into the show right away. Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, I think that's kind of something that I feel like is most reflective in the show is they talk about this sort of overarching theme across everything, and that is what is the cost of rebellion, right? And that's something that they don't really talk about in the process of a lot of Star Wars content, because we get the idea, right? Like there's the Empire. If you rebel against them, you're probably gonna fucking get murked, right? Like we kind of just understood that concept because the dynamic is supposed to be like the little guy versus the big corporate legal system, like what have you, whatever you want to be placing as into that variable that is the Empire. And in this show they finally start talking about like when you have a rebellion, when you decide to riot, what are you going to have to pay as a cost in order for you to stand up against injustice, right? And that's something that, as Garrick was saying earlier, that like when we look at like the Jedi, it kind of takes away like from that, like the presence of the Force and the Jedi being there as this sort of like omnipotent like group of people that like everyone can sort of just like rely on to save the fucking day. Is it takes away from that aspect of like what the stakes are of these group of people that decided one day that they were fucking fed up. And this show gives you like a very, very close microscopic glimpse at like all the things that the other Star Wars content was not willing to really touch on because the Jedi is present, because the Force is present. And they finally were able to say, well, if you're below the middle class, line, if your tax bracket is at, $48,000 or lower, this show's for you, because we're talking about you existing in real life and who you would be a part of, as far as fighting the big machine that is in front of you. And I think that really made this show for what it is. I'm glad you bring that up.
Yeah, it's it does kind of feel like real with that sense, shows you truly how shitty and how much of a fascist regime the Empire really is too, and how it touches on political awareness, it touches on class war, it touches on racism, it touches on so many things around that. And I think this is an important show, not because it's Star Wars, but because of the content that is within it and how it makes you think about what's going on around you too.
Especially Commander Cyril, who we get to a lot of personal time with, and it is some of the most uncomfortable shit on the planet. Watching him become obsessed with Cassian.
He's the funniest character,
dude,
in the show.
His fucking mom, dog. I was like, oh my god, how is he doing this right now? Like how is he not just shoved that spoon straight into his mother's jugular? It's like, because he looks like he's this close. This fucking close to just snapping on his mom.
My favorite thing about Cyril is that he has what us Gen Zers have been coining. He has W Riz. He has He has W Riz. He did the
It was infant talk.
Since we also, you know how the man just waited outside of the other character's workplace for weeks.
Yep.
And then confess his undying appreciation and love.
Yep.
and then traveling to another planet.
Yeah.
To go save that same character.
Say no more, my friend. Say no more.
And then and abducting said character into a storage room.
Yep. No, I know. We're teetering.
Yeah,
but you make a fucking point, my friend.
Yeah.
Hey man, if love ain't like that for me, man, I don't want it. I
don't. Also, I do want to give some credit to Mon Mothma. Mon Mothma is fantastic in this show. Great character. I'm really glad to see them elaborate this character and bring it over from Rebels, as well as the deleted scene from Revenge of the Sith.
Dude, how in the world are they making these animated characters come to fucking life as well as they have? I have no clue how they're pulling it off, but like beat for fucking beat. Every time we get a character that's existed in Rebels or Clone Wars and they turn out to be a 10 out of 10 fucking character, I'm fucking mind blown, man.
Same actress too. Same actress.
And like it's just impeccable. How in the world they're pulling it off, I have no clue, but they're doing it, man.
Hats off. It's probably the best thing that they're doing in the Star Wars universe in general. Cannot wait for Ahsoka, honestly.
Let's go.
Yeah, if anything, this like we talked a lot about this show being so different from Star Wars and feeling like it's just an espionage thriller based in the Star Wars universe, because that's what it is. It also has kind of built up my hype for what's coming, because I wouldn't say so with Boba Fett, but with Mandalorian, especially season 2 and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and now this, I cannot wait to see what other live action content we're getting with the stories that we're about to get. Especially we're getting brand new stories with Ahsoka. We're getting brand new stories with the Acolyte. What's the other show that's coming out that has Joss Whedon in it? What is that show again?
Batman.
No.
Joss Whedon's...
Is that the one where there's like he's protecting a bunch of kids when they crash land somewhere?
Is it? So I know that we have Ahsoka coming. Let's see here. Acolyte.
I'm pulling up the
Mandalorian
upcoming
season
series
3,
right now, real quick.
Andor season 2, Lando.
We're getting a Lando show?
We're getting a Lando show with Donald Glover.
It's Skeleton Crew.
Oh my god, dude. Yeah, Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew.
Okay, yep. All right.
Yeah, it's supposed to be coming out next year.
Yeah.
Jude Law, not Joss Whedon. Yeah, Jude Law. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what moving forward, because this content is top tier. This to me shows an escalation of Star Wars content, because Mandalorian was good. Boba Fett just kind of rode on nostalgia and had some Power Ranger stuff. R.I.P. And then Obi-Wan Kenobi, like once we got to the finale of that, we're like, this is it. This is Star Wars, right? Well, then we get Andor. I didn't think they were going to top Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I didn't think we were either, honestly. I really did not think we would.
Yeah.
Because that final episode of Obi-Wan, I was like, holy shit, how do you get better than this, man? Andor pulled it off, dog.
We forgot to mention that has to be in top 3 cinematic moments in Star Wars, is the finale. I'm not even going to rate them, but the finale of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the eye, and the crash.
Well, and like the finale for Obi-Wan is only as good as it is because we get that color palette change with the lightsaber, and you're like, oh, dude, that was fuck. So cool. You can visually see him like have that character change. You're like, oh shit. Like, that moment where you like step in like your shower, like, but you stepped in too early and it's like still just a tiny bit cold. So your balls kind of shrivel up like under your stomach really quick. God. That's what that moment felt like for me. I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what.
Anyways,
goddamn.
Ernell,
what's up?
What do you rate season 1 of Andor, and should people watch it?
Devin, I'll tell you, my friend, right now, absolutely, people should watch this fucking show. If you're a Star Wars fan, watch this. If you're not a Star Wars fan, or you just like everyone's kind of a Star Wars fucking fan, right? Like, if you're not, you're fucking, you're messing up, dude. But even if you're just tiniest bit of Star Wars fan, watch us because it's just good content. It's just raw, good entertainment. This show's going to get a 8.5 out of 10 out of me. I do think that there's a couple of things that they could have done better as far as pacing in the first couple of episodes. And that's kind of like the big main thing that like had me step away with a couple of points. But yeah, I feel like that after that slow cook is done in the first like 2.5 episodes, it's kind of like where that lasts as long as it does. I think then things take off. But if they would have got me right off the cuff of the first episode, this would have been a 10 out of 10 out of any day of the week. But yeah, 8.5 out of 10 for me.
Nice. DJ, what do you think?
For in the context of like a Star Wars, like in the whole Star Wars universe, like with all the shows and movies, I think it's a 10 out of 10. But as a show by itself, is my actual rating. I'm gonna give it an 8.
An 8.
Very
Okay.
nice.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Should people watch it?
Yes, people should watch it. I think give it a chance. I'm glad I did. Pushing through those first again. It starts slow, but around episode 3 or 4, after episode 3 or 4, you'll get pretty much hooked into it.
Hell yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Garrick, what is your rating, and should people watch it?
This one's actually a really tough one to rate.
Right? It took me a little bit.
Dude, I've just seen so much. Like, I've been really mulling it over. I've just seen so much Star Wars content, and some of it is so fucking bad.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So fucking bad.
Be true to your heart.
True to your heart.
I honestly, despite the fact that this had like a slow burn, all of the other moments just gave me like some monologic moments. Like, I was just like, yep, that's some fucking like Star Wars shit, dude. I'm gonna remember that. Like, I'm gonna remember the
baby.
Luthen monologue scene for fucking ever.
God
like,
damn.
after I watched that shit, every Star Wars fan like that I knew that hasn't seen this, I was just like, you need to fucking watch this show right now. So like, I just like, despite the pacing issues, this is a 9 out of 10 for me.
All right, I like it. Devin, should people watch this show, and what is your rating?
People absolutely should watch this fucking show, guys. Despite the slow pacing, I've been hooked on this show since the first 5 minutes. Could not shut up about the show ever, and I have been on everybody about watching the show. You can ask Garrick. Even last night, I was like, "So, what'd you think of Andor?"
And he was like, "I've been up since 5 this morning." Dog, you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah. So, guys, despite the slow parts, the dialogue for me is some of the best dialogue I've ever seen in a TV show, period. Like 100%. Like I've been spoiled with content. We all have been. And this is some of the best writing that I've ever seen in a TV show. 100%. Especially if I'm going to put this for Star Wars, this is the best writing and dialogue ever in a piece of Star Wars content. This is for me a 10 out of 10.
All right, doggy
No
dog.
gives, no takes.
I like it. That leaves us at a full-on 9 out of 10 for Andor. Let's go, man, gentlemen.
I agree
Give us
with
a
that.
hand.
Yeah.
Good show. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. Let's do it. Watch that shit, baby.
Straight up, no, seriously, go watch it right now. If you don't have time to watch all of it, at least watch that first episode. You will get what the long draw can be, but that first 10 minutes is probably the most important 10 minutes of setting the tone for a show I've ever seen.
And you're like, this is what the story's going to be about. This is how it's going to feel. And then it feels that exact way the whole show. Like, the tension never breaks.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
Like,
it does.
yeah.
It is. You're just buckling your fucking seatbelt after that first episode, baby.
This is like the Jack Reacher or 24 of Star Wars.
That's for sure. I can see that.
Yeah.
You can see that.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting
Yeah.
too
And
because this guy directed Armageddon way back in
Yeah.
the fucking day. One of the greatest movies to have ever graced cinema. Period. And it feels like you're watching Armageddon. Like it feels
Yeah.
like the first time seeing that movie of like your
the
roller
eye.
coaster's going up, it's going up, it's going up, it's going up, it's going up, and then you got this nice black tunnel, and you're like, oh, what's gonna
And then it
happen
goes
now?
up again.
And then it just goes up a little bit more, and then boom, it's like
Yeah.
You're
funnels
just
you.
like, psych, and you're like, now we go.
Yep, dude. Oh
Yeah,
my god,
10 out
man.
of 10. Andor season 1, 10 out of 10 for me, 9 out of 10 for Good Kraken. I'm stoked.
I'm
Are
happy
we
with
getting season 2? Are we getting season 2 this year? Since they're doing the split?
I don't
or
think
are
it's
they doing
this year.
2024?
I think they're filming right now. Andor season 2. When? When come out is what came.
When come out?
When come out? Let's see here.
Why use many word when few do trick?
Sometime in 2024. So we got a couple more years.
Okay. Okay. I bet you it'll be November of 2024.
More than likely.
I bet you.
Yeah. October.
Probably
Yeah,
around
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is it, guys. That is our spoiler-free review. Go watch Andor. Go do it. Talk about it with us.
do it.
Message us. Go to our Discord. Hit us up. It's worth it.
Goddamn.
Let's talk about our schedule, my friends.
Oh, we got a fun one, baby. Let's go.
Tomorrow, we're switching things up a little bit this Wednesday. We are actually doing Splash Damage, The Devil in Me Part 2 tomorrow. And we'll let you know here in a second why it's tomorrow. But yeah, come hang out with us. It's going to be 7 o'clock West Coast time. Whew, I'm tripping over my words, guys.
What? Wait, no.
What? Anyways, Thursday, we have another live recording of the Shipwreck Show. That's going to be right here at twitch.tv/Good Kraken Show, where you can submit questions and topics for the Shipwreck Show at our Discord. That's right. Go to our Discord, be a part of it, subscribe, hit us up. Friday, this is where the big old change up is happening. Get your poopy pants on, guys, because Ernell, Mr. Poopy McScoopers, is going to be playing the Callisto Protocol
Let's
during
go,
Open
baby.
Shrine story time.
Let's fucking go, baby. I'm so hyped for this goddamn game,
Hell
dude.
yeah.
Oh,
Did
baby.
you buy your Depends yet?
Oh yeah, I have like 2 bags actually. This is two whole packages of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually I found a way for me to just create a pulley system where I pull down on a rope, the first one goes away, and I pull on a second rope, and the other one comes on. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'll
Does it leave a mess though?
no, absolutely not.
No?
No, I have 2
Is
buckets.
there a
so I can do
bidet
it.
built into it?
No, of course not. No, I'm not a shill. You know what I'm saying? So I would never get a bidet, especially in my bedroom on my Secret Labs chair. Yeah, no, never.
Shame, but would poop in it. Okay.
Maybe I will just to spite you.
Guys, Saturday, we have another GK podcast episode where we are going to be talking about series versus specials for the MCU. We're going to talk about what we like and what we don't like about them. So come hang out with us. That'll be at 12 p.m. West Coast time, 3 p.m. East Coast time. Guys, please let us know what you think about the season 1 review of Andor. And give us your review as well. You can leave it in the comments. You can come to our Discord. You can message us. All of the above. Hit us up. But
Please.
For now, this has been the Good Kraken Podcast, your choice for all the nerdy video game and pop media news, reviews, and discussions that you wanted to hear live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 12 p.m. West Coast, Best Coast time, right here at twitch.tv/Good Kraken Show. If you enjoyed the show, you can head on over to our Discord channel where you can submit questions and topics to the show, get exclusive post-show content, and have early access to episodes before they go live on podcast and video services across the digital sea. You have anything to say? You can also support us by going to our YouTube channel, clicking that beautiful bell and big red button, or by subscribing to our podcast channel by searching Good Kraken ! And leaving a review there. But until next time,
Guys,
Turf Slurp.
listen. So what do I sacrifice, Garrick?
Everything.
Everything.
Everything.